we can get there.
Welcome to Session Fam Volume 5. Medicine Man, the voice of reason. Minus the Medicine Man today. It's just the voice of reason here. He had to go to work. He missed a lot of hours this week and had to make up for that. But we got Jesse of Eye Jammy, the front man, in here. What's up, Jesse?
Yo, what's up?
Not much, man. Why don't you tell us a little more about your band and all?
So Eye Jammy's been a band for about a year and a half now, and it's a 4-piece band, vocals, drums, guitar, bass. But when it started out, it was the guitar player, Hampton, and I just bought some drum machines, and Hampton hit me up and was like, yo, let's do like a kind of like a funky punk band, but with drum machines. And I was like, all right, cool. So like, I ended up moving to Hattiesburg in October of 2016. And we got a pretty nice sized house with some area in it where we could kind of hook all that stuff up, start writing on some songs. And it's kind of like when you start in a band, you want to have something to get the wheels going. Right. And for us, it was like, okay, we got these 2 shows coming up in a month. Let's go ahead and like write this shit, put it together, figure it out. It's probably not going to be perfect, but we're going to do it. And we've always kind of, with the DIY like punk rock thing, it's at times it can be like a by the seat of your pants, by any means necessary. Like how can we assemble this in a way that we can play a show and it be something, Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can have, any sort of flaws going into it, but you want to build it over time. And the first couple of shows that we did with drum machines, and we ended up playing with like 2 bands that I was already like super psyched on, and like it's kind of like for the first time I've been playing music for 20 years at least. Right. And I was kind of like, I was enjoying being nervous about playing shows again, because for a long time it was just like, it wasn't bad or it wasn't like I was bored with it or anything, but it was just kind of like that routine of checking in. And I was completely confident in what I did. I knew what I was doing. I was great at it. Yeah. But it was like, this was going to be a challenge. And for sure it was a challenge, because those first couple of shows were like a lot of fun, but also kind of rough. And as we transitioned through that, we were like, okay, we're programming the drum beats, you're playing guitar, and I'm doing vocals. And we're playing house shows here in Hattiesburg. And just something about wanting to bring other people into it and do it. Like the songs that we ended up writing were way better, I think, than anything that we maybe thought we were going to do.
Yeah, I really did hear your guys' songs, man. So yeah, Hub City Madness a couple of weeks ago, dude. I was feeling it for sure. You guys have a real old school kind of skate punk type sound. I really dig that, dude.
I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I feel like right now, modern times, like a lot of people, in the national and international punk scene, we're definitely there's not another band that's happening right now that you can say they are like that band. And that's something I feel like, I can speak for all of us and say that we're all really proud, and we strive for, not in the sense that we want to be so experimental that people are like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is this bullshit? We want it to be catchy, and fun, and like speak to our influences. But I feel like originality's kind of always been like that underlying theme, and it is like, we can take influence by something, but we very much want to make it our own. And like, some of the bands that are our influences that were like 80s punk bands are like the Big Boys, the Minutemen. You could even throw in, some stuff like the Beastie Boys, or like some of the old New York no wave stuff. And then also, all 4 of us are like hip hop fans. I am a massive hip hop head, have been, since I was a child in the 80s. And I've always, in all of my bands, tried to kind of incorporate that influence into at least my portion the whatever the band is. So all of that stuff is present in there, and some of those bands like the Minutemen and the Big Boys are bands that I found through skateboarding, watching old Santa Cruz videos, reading Thrasher magazines, and those were like skate rock bands. So like as a kid, hearing that stuff and being kind of naive and like super open-minded and just like wanting to be, down with fucking skateboarding, and hearing that stuff in a video and being like, what is this shit? And the mindset that I was in as a kid, like anybody else, I was like, this is like what skateboarders are supposed to listen to.
Yeah, I know exactly
so
what you mean.
I was fucking down for the shit, and that was a kind of like during that time frame, like you had hardcore and you had like all of the other little subgenres of punk rock, like the funky punk, and just having like that funk influence brought into punk rock, which the older I get and the more that I look back and see the time frame and the accessibility of things, the more that I understand why that was. And you skateboard too, so you can understand like skateboarding music. Sometimes 1,000 miles per hour fast hardcore metal doesn't necessarily fit a street skating style.
Yeah, true.
Which is why hip hop has kind of been like the predominant genre that's been used in so many skate edits forever and ever.
Yeah, I mostly listen to rap when I skate.
Totally.
Nowadays.
I mean, me for sure. Like, growing up in the 90s, which is awesome because the 90s is so like fetishized by like younger people now, and everything's like the style of dress and the music, and the rappers titling their songs this song 1996, or Joe Badass or Princess Nokia or whatever. And actually having lived through that, like at that time frame, like hip hop was coming out of the 80s, like simplistic disco flows, or like everyone trying to be Run DMC or into like actually becoming more experimental and different types of beats, and like the jazz and sampling elements were kind of like coming in.
Sort of like a transitional period kind of to the way rap is today. I feel like today people are really taking notes from older, like especially West Coast rappers. You always hear like the sort of that G-funk type sound a lot of times these days.
Kendrick and everything happening in the Bay. Totally. And that was kind of the thing from like that super informative for me era about music, was like, that was like when hip hop was really kind of coming into its own. There was commercial success, but it hadn't quite reached like the levels that like Dr. Dre's The Chronic and like Tupac's All Eyes on Me and like Biggie and Puff Daddy and all that stuff. To where like at the end of the 90s, the turn of the 2000s, rappers were fucking had more money than God. And it was it started to like, and money was always a part of the discussion in hip hop, because you're dealing with, rappers trying to become upwardly mobile and make their own money and get themselves out of, wherever it is they're beginning to, and like transition other avenues and different aspects of life. But like, there was definitely that pure time where people were listening to rap to be like, what is someone gonna do next? Like how, and that was like kind of the mentality of like the producers and MCs is like, where can I find this fucking obscure sample to like kind of craft, our own sound that fits in the spectrum, in the context of what's going on. And like, you do have rappers, plenty of rappers today that do that, but I think what dominates the mainstream is this kind of like, less of an emphasis on the art form and more on the aesthetic, if that makes sense. And that's, that was something that was super influential to me. And like, even in the context of Eye Jammy, it's like, we have songs where I'm just like, got bars, I'm rapping, and I'm assuming the position of like an MC over the band, and like that's kind of, you know, and I've also done hip hop music all of my life as well, so I'm always going to kind of be coming from that angle whenever I approach anything musically, which is like
same.
The primary thing that I want to do as far as holding a microphone and like fronting any band is like to be dope, like undeniably. Like some people might not understand, like wow, like I really like what they did, but like the people that do, like those are my favorite. The people that are like, yo, like you're fucking spitting bars, like you're straight up like you're rapping on shit. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
of course I am. Like, have you met me yet? Like,
fucking A.
Exactly. So.
So how long you been skating, man?
Let's see. I'm not gonna tell you what year I was born because I don't want to date myself, but I guess the first I knew about skateboarding just from seeing, you know, a little bit of skateboarding here and there, whether it be like in a movie or something like that. And of course, you know, when I was a kid, we had a banana board or like a Nash or a Barraflex around. But the first time I understood there was like a whole culture around it.
Yeah.
I was just like a little fucking kid, like a 6 or 7. Well, I was like a 7-year-old in the neighborhood riding my BMX, and I heard some noise. I look up and I see like 4 guys with asymmetrical haircuts and fucking punk rock shit on, and I was just like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And they're going fast, and it's like your perception of like time and stuff is so skewed when you're a child. And I was like, holy shit! I felt like I like followed them for blocks, but it was just down the street, and I couldn't keep up with them. And I was like, wow, like that was the most awesome thing I'd ever seen in my life at that point.
Fucking A, man.
And I ride around the neighborhood, and I was like trying to like see them again for like days and days and days. It felt like I don't really know what the exact time frame was, but eventually, and it's like, you know, when you're like a kid and like you've got like your friends in the neighborhood, and you'll just like go play in their yard until they get back home.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like when I was a kid, there was no Facebook, there was no real way to keep in touch with your friends, so it's just kind of like you had to be out in the neighborhood to like,
it's like see you when I see you, basically.
Yeah, your social network was your fucking block, or like as far as like whoever was responsible for you would allow you to go. Fortunately for me, the people that were responsible for me were pretty young, and you know, my area consisted of many blocks. So I was riding around, I was playing at a friend's house one day, and I fucking heard noise, and I was like, what is this? And I go into this kid, Brian Harrison, shout out Brian Harrison, go in his backyard, and I see the fucking skaters, and they have a ramp, and they're not in his backyard, there's a fence, they're in the yard that meets his backyard, and they're back there. And it's like, I was pretty shy, like as a kid, so like, I'm just sitting there on my BMX, like in my friend's backyard, watching them skate on a mini ramp, and I was just like, this is the illest fucking shit I've ever seen, but I wasn't afraid to it, which I didn't. And finally, I think towards like the end of their skate session or whatever, they were like, what's up, little dude? And I was like, I'm too scared to talk. I'm just like waving at him like, hi. And my mind was blown, and like they left to go do whatever the fuck they were doing. And also, I want to say this too, while they were skateboarding, they had a fucking boombox sitting on the top of the ramp, and they're blasting fucking music. I've never heard it. I'm at this age, I'm already in. My mom, I was born when my mother was 20 years old, so she was still like a pretty cool young lady and like on trend and like listening to stuff. So like I was listening to the same music in the house that, you know, a 20-year-old mom would be listening to.
The shit that was hit.
Yeah, 25-year-old, 26-year-old mom, whatever was hip. And my mom was, you know, she was a hip lady at the time. And but I'd never heard anything like what they were listening to. And that was also very strange to me, as well as the way that they dressed. Because I was a kid, I was wearing like neon shorts and like whatever, you know, whatever my mom had a TV shirt or something cool like that. And I know I went home that day, and yeah, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I know I went home and I was like, I want to skateboard. You know, I was strung out. I needed a skateboard. My mom was like, well, you got a bike. What do you want to skateboard? The bike's better. And I was like, no, it's not. I gotta have a skateboard. And she was like, all right. You know, mom didn't have a lot of money, so it wasn't like she was like, come on, get in the car. We're gonna get you a skateboard. So it was like one of those things where like it took a while. You know?
Yeah, same here, dude.
And I just kept on like paddling my BMX bike around the fucking neighborhood, and I feel like it felt like it was a year, but it was probably like a week where every day, like I was stalking those dudes ramp like 5-6 times a day going back there. I knew that I could prove to my friends my little friends, that it happened, because I was like, look at the ramp. They come and they do shit on it.
Do some crazy shit.
And sometime, it might have been before that, but I feel like it was around that time, like I checked out a book from like the public library that was about skateboarding. I'll never forget that book. I can still see the pictures in. I don't remember what it was called, but if I ever track it down, I'll fucking put that shit at the house. But it was English, and I didn't realize that until many years later, because I memorized some of the like kids skating in there's names. And as I learned more about like the history of skateboarding, I was like, these were all English kids. So it was like it was kind of like a magazine, but it had a glossy cover on it. It was a book. It was just photos with captions.
Yeah.
Like skate mags were at that time. So I'm looking at that and trying to figure all of this shit out. Like I'm studying it like my life depends on it. And finally, one day, I go back there, and those dudes are back there again. And they're like, it's the little dude. They were like, hey, like, you wanna come chill? And I was like, these dudes at that time were like 16-year-olds, you know, so they were all a good 8, 9, 10 years older than I was. And the way that I remember it anyway is like them like grabbing me and pulling me over that fence.
Nice.
That's like the metaphor for the bullshit that the rest of my life became.
Nice. That's where it all started.
It all started with those fucking guys. What were their fucking names? One of them's name was T, and his dad was a barber. I know his whole family now, but his friends kept saying Yo T. So like in my mind, I thought his name was Yo T. So I'd always call him Yo T. I thought that was his name, you know. And I was like,
Yo T.
Yo T, what a sick name! Like I didn't know that. So they pulled me up on the deck of the mini ramp, and we were sitting there, and they had the boom box up and blasting music, and just watching them skate. It was the coolest thing that I'd ever seen, and it was that revelation where I was like, this is what I want to be doing, maybe forever. Yeah. And they ended up letting me see the board, and like I was doing like some butt drop-ins and like fucking around. And it was a while before I could actually like ride a fucking mini ramp, but I mean, it was the best thing that had ever happened to me at that point. And at the end of the session there, they were like, hey, you know, like, get aboard, dude, you gotta come back, and like, you gotta skate with us. And I was like, I'm gonna try to. And they're like, all right, cool. And I was like, I felt a little more comfortable. I was like, let me ask you this. I was like, what kind of music are y'all listening to? And they're like, what kind of music do you listen to? And I was like, Billy Idol, The Clash, Van Halen, like, you know, shit that my mom listened to, you know?
Yeah.
And they were like, yo, give the little man some tapes, you know?
What?
And the dude was like, all right, cool. And he gives me a tape, and I didn't know what was on it, but I took it home, and I think at that time I had like a little tape recorder. Like, you know, a tape recorder you could record yourself on. It's just a little thing in my room, and that tape had the first Suicidal Tendencies album on one side, and then like on the B side, it was the first Ice-T album. And I wore this motherfucker out. So like, basically, like as far as like that turning point, when it was like the first Suicidal Tendencies with the first Ice-T, and like knowing me now, you can kind of see, like you could trace that all the way back to that shit. And I was like, finally, I got some skate music. But then those dudes started hooking me up with tapes, and they were giving me tapes with like the Dead Kennedys and like the Cramps, or they showed me like the Beastie Boys and like fucking Public Enemy and shit like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think so. I don't even think I knew about Public Enemy then. But the Beastie Boys, License to Ill, had really just kind of come out at that point, and like Run DMC was a thing. And my mom was like, people were still listening to records at that point. There were record players, not, there's record players in people's houses today, but for a long time there was not.
Yeah, tapes were like the MP3 players or whatever.
Exactly.
iTunes.
Perfect way to describe that. And yeah, that was what it was. So blank tapes were like, you made mixtapes, and that's what you took with you, because you weren't gonna fucking walk around with a fucking milk crate full of your records. You were gonna stay at home. And
they're really fragile too, I've heard, man.
I don't know. I don't think they're as fragile as like certain other formats are, but like you can definitely snap one in half with like, boom, just break it like a taco shell if you try hard enough. And I started getting turned on to music from them, while at the same time being super influenced by skateboarding. My mom took me out, bought me that skateboard, got me a Thrasher magazine we saw at the grocery store, some shit like that. Once I got over to like the Thrasher magazine, and I was flipping through it, and like still to this day, you go back to like the final quarter of the magazine, and they'd have like the music. So as a kid, that young and like very like easily influenced by what I thought was the craziest shit. This is all I want. And I started to see things in the back of those Thrashers. And Thrasher was always good about kind of like having someone in charge that had their fingers on the pulse of like the underground.
Yeah.
Thrasher
they still are.
And still are. Thrasher wasn't going to cover, whatever was the biggest thing. They might have a bigger act in there, but generally they knew like what the skaters kind of wanted, and that was like, we're gonna make sure that we don't look like a bunch of idiots trying to push new kids on the block to a bunch of skateboarders.
Yeah. Dude, Thrasher is the realest skate magazine company ever. Like to this day, dude, I love Thrasher because, and even, dude, they're kind of mainstream now because you can see random people, just walking down the street wearing Thrasher shit. Like,
I mean, definitely. I mean, like most of like what's on trend with fashion and shit now is like, I could be one of those people that gets mad. And if they would have done this to me when I was 15 or 16, my brains would have exploded, because everyone around me would have been posers, no one knew shit. And now it's just like, I'm over it, I don't give a fuck. If I see some fucking body that doesn't have a clue about skateboarding, although I feel like everybody has a clue about skateboarding. Like at this point, a couple of years ago, there were more people buying skateboards than baseball gloves. So
definitely.
It's not. It went full mainstream at a certain point.
Yeah,
there's always going to be
especially now.
Yeah, there's always going to be that underground thing in skateboarding that refuses to be a status quo event. But digging through those Thrashers is where I found all of the music that I grew up on, and I had a subscription to Thrasher from probably 1991 to 2000 or something like that.
Nice.
And that's, that informed me a lot on music. And then the further I started to get into punk rock, it was for a long time when I was a teenager, there was a brief period where I had friends that were into punk rock, and then people started getting into other shit and just kind of falling in line with whatever everybody else was doing. I kind of dove deeper and deeper into the underground, and when I was 14 or 15, I started to even alienate my friends that had been listening to fucking Operation Ivy or something like that with me, where they're like, dude, what is this bullshit you're listening to? This isn't even good. And I was like, you don't fucking get it, because you're a poser. And I kind of ran that shit for a while, but also at the same time, I was very much into, like I said earlier in the conversation, I was very much into hip hop. And that was kind of a thing that, at least in the 90s, I'm sure in the 80s before my time too, was kind of an anomaly in a sort of way. Like you weren't gonna run into a whole lot of like punk rock kids that also loved hip hop. Maybe if they skated and they kind of had that same experience that I did, and those were the kind of people that were instantly relatable to me. But it was like I said, when I was skating, I wanted to listen to Tribe Called Quest. I wanted to listen to Mobb Deep. I wanted to listen to Wu-Tang, De La Soul. That was the shit that, like, the skate videos I was watching. That's what the soundtrack to that was. And occasionally punk, but I'm not gonna lie to you, like in the mid-90s, like a lot of the punk that hits whatever, like skate videos is trash.
Yeah, it was, dude, skating for me, like, a lot of the punk rock music that I've learned about through skating came from playing Tony Hawk. I just want to say real quick, dude, I'm so glad to have you on the show right now because I've always wanted to talk about skating on this podcast, and now we're finally doing it.
I always want to talk about skating no matter what.
Yeah, same, dude. I love that shit. But anyways, so I learned mostly about skating through Tony Hawk, man. I got it when I was about 8 or 9, maybe. And I didn't skate, though, for years after that. But I remember playing the game, and I knew Chad Muska, man. He was the guy for me.
Shout out Chad Muska.
Dude, straight up the Muska, man. If you ever end up listening to this, man.
Yo, I like the Muska, like one of the illest skateboarders ever.
Seriously, yeah, definitely.
Definitely had some questionable like choices in fashion and like some of the other stuff, but like Muska was like definitely goes down as a great because of his influence. And like I went through a Muska phase for sure, you know. I'm planning on going through another Muska phase this summer. I'm gonna get me some fucking swishy pants and start rolling up with my knees and shit.
Oh my god. Dude, Skate Mafia actually makes a little replica of Chad Muska's old school Rising Sun board or whatever. Because I think they Peter Smolik or whatever, he used to fuck with
Shorties, yeah. Smolik was like low-key my favorite guy on Shorties. Was probably like, I love the Muska, but the Muska was like, he was like the event. He was kind of like the leader of shit.
Yeah.
Just kind of the way I was, like, I've always, no matter what it is that I'm into, I'm always kind of looking for like the more like subtle nuances of what makes something great.
Yeah,
for me, like Peter Smolik and that like San Diego kind of like, Peter Smolik and Little B, it was like that Ebony and Ivory, like two homies, you know, they had their own little two-man skate crew that was part of this bigger thing, and they were just like, those San Diego, like, you know, neither one of them were Hispanic, but they kind of had that like Cholo, like, influence of things, and they were just fucking dope-ass skaters, and like, I fuck with Peter Smolik and Little B, the original Little B before the rapper, Brandon Turner.
Oh, dude, Brandon Turner is the shit, bro. Shout out Brandon Turner for real.
And those guys still kill it.
Yeah, definitely,
There's so
man.
many people from that era that just like phased out, washed out, quit, moved on, did other things, and that's fine. Like those two dudes still kill it to this day.
Most definitely.
And it's like skateboarding is right now starting to kind of enter, because skateboarding's still young as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Skateboarding's like not a whole lot older than I am. And like skateboarding's finally kind of like hitting that stride wheel. Like, we need to celebrate our heroes while they're alive. We need to start paying more attention to like the people that like molded and influenced and shaped this culture, because like a lot of those people are like, you know, you guys like Tony Alvin and Peralta, like, I don't fucking even know. They're in their 60s now, probably.
Yeah, those dudes, they gotta be at least late 50s, early 60s by now, man.
Because they were in their 20s and 70s, you know?
Yeah.
But, and that's really cool. And it's like one of my favorite podcasts is the Nine Club, which is like, they bring a lot of the guys out that were like contemporary skaters during the era that I was a teenager, and I was out there skateboarding every single day. So whenever they have a new episode of that shit, I'm tuned in and I'm watching it, because it's I can get real deep on like skate nerd shit.
Yeah.
Because I was so into that shit, and like skateboarding, punk rock, and hip hop are like three things you can just about like, you can ask me anything and like I know it.
Yeah.
If I don't know it, like I know enough about it to not sound like a fucking idiot that doesn't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Skating, it's definitely my first true love, probably, man, for sure. Like, even before I actually skated, I didn't start skating until I was about 13, 14 maybe. But I liked skating since I was 8. I think I got my first board when I was about 12 or 13. I was living out here in Mississippi at the time. My mom got me one for my birthday. I was in the same situation as you. Like, we didn't have a lot of money, so she knew that I wanted one. I never even asked for one, but she got me one, though, when I turned like 12, 13 years old. I ended up moving out to Maryland the next year with my dad, and we were living in these apartment complexes at the time, and there were these guys, like all these apartments in front of each building. There was like a 3-stair. And one day, man, there were these guys, bro.
There's like a flat parking lot.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Nice.
And there were these 3 guys, man. One of them's name was BJ. The other was Brandon Raven. He follows me on Instagram. Brandon, if you're listening to this, bro, shout out. Shout out BJ too. If you ever hear this. I can't remember the other guy's name, but at that point, like, I had just been riding, and I didn't know how to ollie or anything like that. But these dudes were doing like ollies, kick flips, ollieing down to 3, dude. Like, they were blowing my fucking mind. And the homie BJ actually showed me how to do a ollie, and I picked it up like that day. I was doing like kind of decent ollies by the end of the day. I haven't seen, that was the last time I ever saw BJ. Brandon actually lived right down the street. We ended up skating a lot. We were about the same age. And hell yeah, after that, maybe like a year later, whenever I really started learning tricks, that all came from a good friend back in the day, Brennan Hewer. Shout out Brennan Hewer as well, man. He came to my dad's house, dude, with Baker 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is back in like 2008, 2009, something like that. Came to my dad's house with Baker 3, dude, and we watched it. Man, ever since then, like, skateboarding has been my #1 passion for sure. Like, I couldn't live without it, and I'm gonna do it till I can't anymore. You know what I mean?
Totally. And that's like Baker. Shout out Baker 3. I feel like Baker was like your generation of skateboarding. Was like, you know, we had some different videos at the time that was like that, but I feel like Baker was like one of those crews that came along, and I was well into my 20s when that shit came out, and I was down with it. But like, I feel like that was one of those like very influential for like younger skateboarders, not just in like getting people into skateboarding, but like Baker was all about attitude.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like that whole like Fish Drunks crew, all of them, and like also not just that, but just like, and the tricks that people do, but also like the way that people dressed and the music and shit that people fucked with because of what was in Baker. Because Baker was the, you know, as far as like what was accessible and like anyone could find somewhere. And like, I guess at that time, like you had like the option of getting on YouTube, even though there wasn't a lot of skate content on YouTube early on. It was like, and Baker was always really cool. Kind of tying this back into our conversation about like Baker had the punk rock dudes, Baker had the hip hop dudes, and like all of that shit that I grew up on kind of coalesced at that point. Where it was like, for me, seeing that was a point where I was like, finally, like everything is where it should be in skateboarding, which was like, there were no rules about shit. It was like, if you wanted to be a fucking rocker, Jim Greco kind of dude that looked fucking, you know, like some kind of Ramones, Motley Crue motherfucker skating the Johnny Thunders, you could be that, or you could be like, you know, a fucking Shane Hell dude, like skating the 3-6 Mafia. Exactly. And it was like, that was okay, and it made sense side by side, and there was no one that was like, I don't like that they do this. It was like, that was the world that like skateboarders had understood for a long time, you know?
Dude, their filmer Beagle, I think, was very crucial in the whole come up of Baker, man, because he kind of started the whole thing with skateboarding of like filming hijinks and like shit behind the scenes. Yeah. You know?
And there were definitely like there was definitely some of that before, but Beagle was from that era where he grew up enjoying the hijinks. That was not a huge part, but would be in old videos like Blind's Video Days or like whatever, and knew like this is what like skaters want to see in their videos too. Like this is what I want to see, and like what I want to see is what I'm going to put out. I'm going to take that risk and still like following trends and stuff. And that was like very influential on Beagle. Is like a lot of fucking people that are having resurgences in their careers, because like right now, like you can trace all the shit back if you know what you're fucking with, but like Beagle was the one that was like putting like that underground fucking Memphis rap shit.
Yeah, dude, he was big in the 3-6 Mafia.
You hear about it anymore, and like all that fucking Now It's On Chicken Bone shit is like that's old like underground Memphis like lo-fi shit.
Oh, dude, Shake Jump, the name Shake Jump is straight up.
It's like a straight up little Jet song, you know. And like people now, and it's like even the most mainstream rappers, and like you know whether it's fucking A$AP Rocky.
I love A$AP Rocky. He's one of the best rappers to skate to these days.
Yeah, like this fucking Tamagotchi 6ix9ine dude. Like all these dudes are like they owe their entire fucking careers to like some music that motherfuckers weren't really like some straight up fucking Memphis hustlers were like
seriously
in their bedrooms with a tube sock over the mic.
Yeah.
You know, slaying tapes out of their trunk, and now you got these motherfucking jet setters in Paris that are like, you know, taking the styles, like, to an extent they're elevating it and they're keeping it relevant because it was influential, but all of that, what these modern rappers are like getting fucking paid off of is the shit that like fucking, you know, was those A$AP dudes were kind of like posting on Tumblr a couple of years ago, and they were informed by that shit, fucking because of like Shake Jump videos and stuff like that, because like of Baker and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, like even girl videos having like 666 Clubhouse, 3-6 Mafia, and all that shit. And like I definitely, when I was in high school, was super into like all of that lo-fi shit coming out of Memphis, and like
most definitely
going with like two of my fucking Indian homeboys from fucking school to like going to go see 3-6 Mafia, like before they even like were like regionally a pretty big act, but they had never broken like out into the mainstream.
Right.
This was like in the like Chair Club Up era, like before like the sipping on the syrup and riding spinners. And, you know, who run it like shit like a couple of years later. And I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like we saw them in like a like defunct grocery store that turned into like a Shake Jump into a club. And like, you know, a year and a half, 2 years later, they're like on MTV, and we were proud of that shit. We were like, wow, like the South doesn't suck, you know?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't suck to be from here. Like people were into like, and that was something that was interesting to me because like growing up, that was very much a thing that was like anywhere else, and like, and even in the cultures that I was following, like skateboarding, which was like, you know, so California based. Like people in California thought people in fucking Mississippi and fucking Memphis, Tennessee, and Florida and shit, they suck, you know.
Dude, still today, when I lived in Seattle, I lived there for a couple of years. Just a few years back, dude, I'd be out there, you know, people would be talking about things like music and shit like that, and they would bring up something like Schoolboy Q or like Kendrick Lamar, and they'd be like, oh, you guys probably don't listen to this out in Mississippi, right? And I'm just like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we don't live in fucking cardboard boxes. Like, we're not, you know, taking shits in outhouses or anything. Like, just because it's the South doesn't mean we don't know what's up and shit. Might take a little bit longer for things to start popping out here, but
yeah,
you know,
not anymore because everybody's got a fucking laptop, and you know that, and that's something that the internet did was like, for better or for worse, made regional culture spread so quickly to other areas. So it's kind of like, and I feel like, you know, regional culture, you know, regardless of like where it's coming from, should be like, you know, it's for anyone that cares to enjoy it, but at the same time, like, it should be respected as a part of that culture. So if it's like Southern culture, whether it's fucking, you know, New Orleans bounce, and also should be respected by, like, without getting into like a deep political like discussion, it's like Black Southern culture specifically that is like influencing the rest of the entire world right now, and like it needs to be, you know, it's awesome that these artists that make art are able to reach the entirety of the fucking world, and like people in fucking Germany or fucking Brazil or wherever, you know, wherever you want to go. I'm sure there's some motherfuckers in Jamaica right now that are like listening to Tommy Wright the Third or whatever. That's sick, you know what I mean? But like, just because the internet has kind of made with youth culture like this melting pot where everything's accessible from everyone, and like, you can't take that away from somebody. Just because some kid lives in fucking cornfields in Iowa doesn't mean that he's not listening to, you know, fucking old school Cash Money records every day and like feeling shit, you know, to the fullest. But like at the same point that I'm trying to make about like that melting pot of culture is like, just do the math, do the knowledge, respect where it came from, and don't try and act like you've invented something brand new and that you're some kind of fucking fashion genius, you know, whatever, because there's a lot of those fucking people that aren't getting homage and respect for the things that they, you know, work their asses off to put out there before the internet was there, so that every fucking dumbass with a broadband connection could claim it as their own. Yeah. If what I'm saying is making sense, you know what I mean?
I totally get what you mean. Like, it's music has come such a long way today. Whenever people come out with new shit, it's hard to be original, you know what I mean? Because everything is really kind of been done already, and at this point, it's like, what do you want to fucking sample from, basically?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly, and I totally get that, and like, just going back to my own band, it's like, we wear our influences on our sleeves. I know what we're doing. I would never try to pass what we're doing as like we're some kind of fucking visionaries that are like breaking the mold and doing
just having fun with it, basically.
But we try and do it in a way that's, you know, respectful for the people that pioneered that, and also, and you know, a good piece of advice that somebody gave me, and this is like when I was learning how to write raps. I was learning how to write bars. And I was like, I want to do some hip hop songs. My friends were ready to do it and shit. And I was in a studio, and this guy that was older than me was like, this is what you need to do. He was like, when you write that rap like your favorite fucking MC is the only person that's ever going to hear it.
Right.
I was like, so if that's your favorite MC, and he's your biggest influence,
you want them to approve?
Do you want them to go, damn, you're just ripping me off, or do you want them to approve you and be like, oh man, like yeah, well, that's the only motherfucker's respect that you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody else can go fuck themselves. And like, I still to this day think about that when I'm writing shit. Like, if I'm writing these lyrics, am I writing something that fucking Rakim Allah is gonna respect? Am I writing some shit that like Prodigy from Mobb Deep is gonna like? That's what I want to do, but at the same time, like in this band, like I want to do it where it makes sense with the rest of it. I don't want to just rapping all over everything like that.
Yeah, that's
star, because I'm not like.
That'd be kind of weird, you know. Like that would throw me off. You know, if I went to your band, if I went to Eye Jammy's show, a punk band, and you know, just heard mostly rapping over punk instrumentals, I would, you know, I wouldn't be as impressed.
Right.
I really like what you guys got going, man. Eye Jammy's a shit. Do you guys have social media, anything like that? I was trying to find y'all.
Not really. Like we have Bandcamp, and that's about it.
Bandcamp?
Yeah, we don't really chase social media, which is kind of like fine with me. I feel like less pressure on everybody in the band to have to stand and be like, holy shit, we gotta fucking show.
Yeah.
We gotta shove our music and shit down everybody's throats. But it's also just like a part of like the particular punk scene that you're a part of, and it's like that's just kind of like the standard for people. Is like there's not a lot of like people within like the DIY punk community that are about a lot of grandstanding when it comes to like the promotion of themselves.
Yeah, sort of like
you may have people that are, have their political views, and they're very expressive about that because they feel a responsibility to themselves and their friends and their community to let people know that this is something that's affecting different people, and this is something that I'm passionate about, and this is something that I believe in. But you're not going to see a lot of people, at least within our corner of the universe, saying, "Look how fucking awesome my band is" all the time, because that's sort of frowned upon. Because like part of it is that like there are no stars, there are no one should be put on a pedestal as being better than anyone else that picks up an instrument, writes songs, and like if you're willing to get up there and like anybody that's ever performed music can tell you like it's intimidating as fuck to like say, how do I get this shit like jumped off? How do we write songs, and how do we say what we're trying to say and like perform what we're trying to perform with the music without being fucking assholes about it? And like there's just no rock stars in that.
Yeah.
And in the scene that we play in, it's more about it's about friendship, and it's about building relationships with people in your own community and in communities adjacent and far away, so that there is a network that supports itself so that it can operate outside of the mainstream. And that's what DIY is about. It's about do it yourself by any means necessary. The shit ain't gotta fucking be perfect. If anyone comes and they're sitting there going, "Oh, well, this band is not fucking shredding hard enough," it's like, dude, cool, like, you made your fucking point, but like, they're trying and they're doing things. Yeah. And that, I gotta throw a disclaimer out, and that's not to say that like the scene is full of people who can't play, because every fucking band that I see, whether they're from Kansas City or New York City or Oakland or, Indiana or whatever, like every band consistently kills it because there's a level of passion there, because there's no money involved. There's no reason to be there and to be playing other than to like, you believe in yourselves, you believe in your friends, very important. You believe in your friends, you're uplifting your friends are uplifting you, and there's a support group there, and there's passion. There's passion in every one of those bands. And I feel like in that DIY scene, when the passion for any one of those bands starts to like dwindle or sway, that people are like, let's fucking hang this shit up and start something new. Because like we've either played this band out or, whatever, you know what I mean?
See, you basically just described the story of Medicine Man and the Voice of Reason. Because I have always wanted to do a podcast, and I came across Medicine Man just by chance, basically. And he was in the same mindset as I was, and now we just kind of feed off of one another, and we were like that extra push that the other needed to, get the wheels rolling and try to actually do something, And
well, and collaboration is like so vital and important to like art in general. I mean, I can lock myself in this room and like fucking spray paint the walls and make all kinds of art and shit, but like if it's not being seen and shared and felt by other people, then like your ego's too big for this fucking room. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
And that's that's a big part of like what's happening here in Hattiesburg with the DIY scene. And it's about bringing, like, every band that like we book is either someone that we are like some people that we are already friends with and have met through like traveling or whatever, or if they're not, but like they're about to be our friends, because this is not like, oh, there's shows at this bar, we got this promoter, and there's this amount of money on the table, and this and that. Like, we're literally inviting people into our homes.
Yeah.
And that's something that's like, I've had to explain to so many people, and it's a very fucking simple concept that people just sometimes can't wrap their heads around, but it's like, no, like, it's nothing personal. I'm not saying your band sucks, you know, but this is my best friend's house, and you have songs, and I know like that you fucking say fucked up shit and do fucked up shit, and you're not invited. I'm sorry, you know. Like, we're not gonna give you a fucking ticket to come to the show when, you know, you're somebody that I wouldn't trust bringing into my house. Peace. And people get pissed about that, and they don't understand why. And it's like, no, you understand why, because you do and say fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And this is not, we're not trying to put Hattiesburg on the map and like, you know, make a big name for our bands and stuff. This is a pretty intimate scene of friends.
It's a passion project.
It's a passion project for everybody, and it's, you know, people. There is a clear and present like level of respect for everyone there, and if you don't have that level of respect, then like there's plenty of other places where you can go and do your thing.
Exactly.
And if your feelings are getting hurt because you're not invited, then that tells me that you want to be invited, but you don't want to like do the labor and correct the things that are wrong about yourself in order to like be a part of that. Because people fuck up. I mean, there's kind of like this stigma that it's like this super elite, like, oh, you know, fucking staring down, you know, the nose at everyone else that's not there. And it's like, no, we all started somewhere, and everyone, no matter who you are, you've done something stupid. You said something stupid in the past. That's part That's part of growing up. I mean, even the most woke motherfuckers on the planet can be traced back to, you know, some fucking problematic behavior. But it's a process of learning, and to me, that is like, you know, not punk rock as like a stylistic version of music, but just like as an ethos or like as a mentality is like, it's a process of unlearning all the fucked up behavior that like society has taught you. And that's why like punk rock should and will always be like a political format of music, you know, and you can have fun and you can be goofy and you can be expressive and you can do all that stuff, but at the same time, like DIY punk, you're already taking a stance by being a part of that to say like, this is not the mainstream culture. We, as the performers, as the participants, define what this is. There is no entity, there's no corporation, there's no, you know, long-standing tradition that dictates what this is to us. It is what this is to us at this point in time.
Yeah.
And it's a process of unlearning fucked up behavior that was taught to you from society or your parents or from television or like whatever the influence is. And it's like people always say that, you know, kids are so innocent, and it's like kids don't see race and they don't see sex until they're older, and they're taught that there's a difference between black and white and brown and, you know, any races or ethnicities or like, you know, where you lie on the political spectrum. These are all things you learn as you grow up to be an adult. Yeah. So for me, at least at this point, after having been involved in punk since like 19, like when I say involved in punk, like I started going to shows in probably like 93, 94, somewhere in between that time frame.
Quite a while now.
Which is, you know, around the time that a lot of people that are involved in it were born. Or before that, you know what I mean? And like, and there's kind of this stigma where people are like, there's old punk, it was super crazy and offensive, and everybody was like burning shit and fucking, you know, I was like, dude, I was there, it wasn't really like that. It's always kind of been nerd culture, or like a part of nerd culture, and it's a group of nerds that are like passionate about like social change and about like not accepting like mainstream culture and the patriarchy for like what it is and being like, yeah, that's fine, I'm just gonna be that. It's like people that want and understand that there is the possibility for like change, and that it comes at a price, and that it comes over a very long period of time. That it's not something that you just get to throw your fist up and say, I want it now. You know what I mean? Yeah, you want it now, but you have to work for it.
Exactly, you gotta work for it.
And there's a lot of people that disagree with that, and it's one of those things where like punk rock is like one of those things. It's a part of like rock and roll and youth culture that no one really owns, but there's always going to be different perspectives of it. At least the part of it that I'm involved in and very proud to be involved in is like takes the world seriously, but doesn't always take itself super seriously. Like it's not all like political firebrands that are like, you know, who are we gonna kill today? You know, it's people having a good time, and like a lot of people want to shit talk safe spaces, and like, oh, you know, yeah. And they use language that I personally don't use a lot, but they want to call people all kinds of like slurs and derogatory names because of this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And oh, you know, they don't want to do this, and they want to deal with what the real world is. And I was like, why is that so fucked up to you? Why can't a group of friends have a place where they can be themselves without worrying about some fucking asshole coming and fucking it up or picking a fight? Like, what's wrong with that? Why does that piss you off so much? And especially if it's being done in their own houses and their own spaces. Seriously. It's not like they're going to your fucking favorite bar and being like, nope, everything here's got to change. Because like the people involved in that, they that's not what they want. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's kind of a misconception, and it's something that I choose to let people who are smarter than me, that are able to express a lot of the ideas and the concepts. Okay. I let them, I just fall back and support them and listen and let them say what they got to say, because I don't want to talk over people who experience more oppression on a daily basis than what I do. And I got their backs. If they're my friends, cool.
Hell yeah. Dude, Jesse, man, it's so good to have you on here. Like, I'm glad you came through, man. Fucking A. We're gonna have to work together again soon.
Well, we're gonna do part 2, man.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. Like, whenever you're ready, bro. Like, you said you're interested in doing a podcast off the record earlier, dude. We're gonna have to collaborate soon, for sure.
I mean, if it's one thing that I love to do, it's fucking talk.
Yeah.
If you want to get me talking, you know, get some sugar in me or some alcohol in me, and I'll talk all night, really.
Oh yeah, we can get that taken care of, my friend.
For sure.
Hell yeah. Make sure you guys follow us, MM and the VOR, on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. You guys got any dates coming up soon? Any shows?
I think there's a show Sunday night, which is a week from today, at a house show 2 streets over from here.
Nice. Oh, I know exactly.
Most of the house shows are right here in this neighborhood. Shouts out to the Avenue. Shouts out Hattiesburg. And then I don't know. We just played like a lot of shows. We went and played Everything's Not Okay Festival in Oklahoma for the second time in a row, and we played all the shows of bands that have been doing that touring, like right around that same time, spring break, and like some local shows, and we did like Hub City Madness. And
Hub City Madness was sick. I enjoyed it.
We did Gazmo's mix show with some hip hop groups and some R&B and punk bands too. That was really sick, and I hope to see that happen more often.
My buddy King Leo played at Gazmo's that day, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. Shout out King Leo, man. He was we had him on Sessions with Fam. Like a month ago. Shout out King Leo.
Shout out Gazmo. Shout out Trey.
Yeah, shout out Gazmo's for sure.
I'm very happy to see like them starting to do well and in their new location and all that stuff, and I back it big time.
For sure.
And that's it. We just played last show we played Wednesday night in New Orleans, it was our good friends Trampoline Team and Knock Ramon's tour kickoff show. And we played with a band that's on tour from France that we played with the last time they were on tour from France called Reeks. This is them on the shirt.
I was wondering what that shirt was.
Yeah, they are a French Oi band, and they came and played. We went on tour with them, and that's when I fucking destroyed my knee, which is still fucked up. Might be having surgery this summer. And they were just real nice people, like them a lot, and they came back through, and we played with them again the other night, and we're playing Sunday night, and then next up we're going to start recording. We're going to record some stuff for a 7-inch, hopefully, if I'm the label, put that stuff out, or we'll just put it out ourselves like we always do, because that's a big part of what we do too, is like, we don't depend on anybody to do anything for us.
Hey, if you guys need any help publishing, man, make sure get in contact with the Medicine Man and I. think we got a little bit of experience with that.
Yeah.
We could probably help you out a little bit. That's going to wrap it up for Sessions with Fam, Volume 5, you guys.
Peace.
Once again, sorry the Medicine Man can't make it. Thanks again, Jesse, for coming through. Tune in the next few days for episode 9. The topic is going to be so juicy, you guys. Make sure you tune in. Thanks again for listening.
Peace.
Alright, look, I came out here, I give it 190%, you know what I'm saying? I came out here, me and my boys, we practice all year, you know what I'm saying? Like, fucking all the time, we fucking in here, like, fucking practice all year, we train all year, you know what I'm saying? We give it 190%. Thank you, baby. We give it 190%, and me and my boys, I'm gonna fuck around, you know what I'm saying? I feel time, me and my boys, we do it big, 100% all the way around, and, you know what I'm saying, like, don't even try to fuck with it, alright? I'm about to throw it off on y'all.